What is going on, guys? Welcome to Geek Muscle. I am your host, Drew. Today we're talking relationships and the red flags that indicate that the relationship is going nowhere. So if you spot any of these that we're going to talk about today in your relationship, run. Now I know what you're thinking. Drew, you're single. Why would we listen to you about relationships? You're a piece of and nobody wants you. No, but yeah, while I am single right now, I have gone through my fair share of relationships, and through each of them, I learned something new. Before we even jump into relationships and talking about all that, you need to know yourself first and foremost before actually dating somebody and dedicating your time onto somebody else. You need to know yourself, and you need to know what you want and what you truly want. Because think of it this way, how can you expect to invest your time onto getting to know somebody, especially if it's a serious relationship, when you really don't know yourself? So with that being said, today we're going to cover 10 red flags that you should be aware of in a toxic relationship. Now keep in mind, I'm not going in a specific order from most important to least important or vice versa. I'm just giving you as we go on, as what it pops in my head in that order, basically. But they're all important nonetheless. Number 1, moving too fast. Okay, so this one tends to happen way too often, and I've seen it so many times, and that is when they automatically get into relationships without really knowing each other. They just like each other, whether it's because of physical attractiveness or because they just managed to click on the first date, who knows, but they pretty much just make it official right away. Now, this is problematic because they really don't know each other as far as their likes, dislikes, beliefs, morals, you name it. They really haven't gone through the discussions and arguments that healthy relationships go through to make them stronger. Ultimately, this leads to fights early on in the relationship, or even earlier than that when people are just starting to talk. It leads to arguments because they really don't know each other. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that I don't believe in love at first sight, but I do believe that in order to make love work, you need to build a foundation first, which is a friendship. You need to build a specific connection through a friendship, and then eventually that evolves into a relationship if it's meant to be, of course. Number 2, lack of balance. So what I mean by that is when they spend way too much time together, and I mean literally, they spend their time together 24/7, and they don't make time to spend with their family or their friends anymore. Okay, so this pretty much means that they spend way too much time together, more than what's considered to be normal, especially when the relationship's still fresh. They put aside their family and their friends, and they dedicate their full time on that one specific person. And that's not good either. You need to have a balance of, you need to have time to focus on your relationship, but you also have to have time to focus on your friends and your family. You can't set them aside because you really don't know the future. You don't know if this person's gonna be the one. You guys can break up any day, and if you keep pushing away the people that are close to you, once you're in that position that you need them for support, they're gonna be gone. Not only that, but even then, like if you spend way too much time together, either one person's gonna get tired of being around them too much, or both of them are just gonna get fed up with each other and they're just gonna be pulling each other's hair. But mainly this is problematic because they set aside the people that are true to them, such as their family or their best friends. And if things go south, they pretty much just don't have anybody anymore. And as DJ Khaled says,
congratulations, you played yourself.
I gotta get some tea. Number 3, lack of trust. So signs of lack of trust in a relationship include joint Facebook accounts, keeping their phones on lock all the time, or if they're ever at a public place, one of them might have their phone facing down. But the most common sign that there's no trust in the relationship is pretty much when one of them jumps to conclusions right away, especially if their significant other is going out with their friends or something. They assume that they're cheating. You really need to be careful with this, because whenever one of them doesn't trust the other or they jump to conclusions right away, it's because they low-key feel guilt because they might be doing that themselves. And I've seen it before too. For example, one of my ex-girlfriends, she would always accuse me of cheating, even if I was out with friends or if I was just out at the store or at work. She would always jump to conclusions that I was out, being a player or God knows what, but clearly I wasn't. And eventually I found out that she was the one being unfaithful. So that's something that you really need to keep in mind, because if they assume right away that you're doing something bad, that's because they're probably doing that themselves. Just a little food for thought. Number 4, lack of having the same vision for the future. Now, I don't mean in a literal sense that they have the exact same vision, as in that they want to do the exact same thing career-wise or whatever. But what I mean is that they don't have that same vision in regards to success, regardless of that type of success it is. For example, that would include things such as traveling together or starting a family, getting married, having kids. If one of them is not on the same page in, any of those types of things, it's gonna be a problem. Honestly, if you're both thinking about having a serious relationship and one of those things don't match up, you're pretty much already wasting each other's times. Because you really cannot change somebody for who they are, for the things that they want to do, which we'll get to in a bit. Number 5, changing somebody into something that they're not. Now, don't get this confused. I'm not talking about wanting to change them for the better, whether it means, picking them up when they're feeling down, or making them feel more optimistic, or, pushing them to chase their dreams. I'm not talking about those things. What I mean is that if they flat out don't like any of the qualities of their significant other, whether it's their likes or the things that they want to do, their sense of humor, the things they say, basically any quality that defines you, they don't feel comfortable with it, and they want to change you into something that they want. So let's just say, for example, that a girl is dating this guy that's a complete introvert. He doesn't really like going out. He's a bit of a nerd that plays, video games or just stays at home Saturday nights. And she's more of the outgoing type. And she just doesn't like the things that he does or the things that he talks about. And she tries to persuade him, to force him into drinking or to go out to, scenes that really he doesn't feel comfortable with. If any of you are dealing with a relationship with your significant other is telling you to stop doing something that pretty much defines who you are, that's your cue to drop them. Now let's just flip things around. Let's say that the guy is a completely extroverted type of person that likes to go out and be very social with a bunch of people. He likes to drink every Saturday night. The typical, bro, you can say. And his girlfriend, she's more, she likes to stay in Saturday nights. She likes to, be in more mellow type of environments. She doesn't like nightclubs or parties. And he doesn't want to stay in for once to have game nights with her or any of that. But instead, he wants her to turn into this party girl, which is wrong. That's not her character, basically. He cannot change who she is. Otherwise, he's not really in love with her. He probably finds her attractive for some reason, but he wants to change her into something that he likes. So ladies, if you feel like your guy is trying to change you into something that you're not, that's your cue to walk away as well. Number 6, controlling. Now, honestly, this one is a no-brainer, because honestly, whether you're being controlled or you're controlling somebody, it just shows weakness in your part. If you're being controlled, it shows weakness because you're letting that other person step all over you, and because you're too afraid to lose them, you're willing to actually put up with that. And if you're being the one that's controlling them, that's showing weakness in your part, because that shows your lack of confidence, because you really don't want to let them do things, without you being there. And I've seen this before too. One of my high school best friends dealt with that with his girlfriend at the time. She was pretty much very controlling over him, and it was pretty sad to see him change. He stopped hanging out with us, and he lost a considerable amount of weight because he was very stressed in that relationship. And I remember him telling me that one Sunday morning that he had plans to go to church with his grandmother, and she got upset about that. Yeah, she got mad at him because he made plans to spend time with his grandmother in church. Let that sink in. And I'm just paraphrasing, but she said things along the lines such as, "Oh, well, okay, you know what? I'm not mad. Go with your grandma. No, it's cool." spend time with your grandma. Don't, just do your thing. I'm fine. That type of, attitude. She pretty much had him wrapped around her little finger. But yeah, the minute you start to notice little things like that in a relationship, walk away. Number 7 is honesty. So this one relates to trust, but when it comes to honesty, it means that you have to be honest with this person from the very get-go. Now, I'm not saying to be fully open with them right away. You need to have time to build that trust. But what I am saying is don't lie about anything, or don't say things that you're going to end up regret telling them, because later on the lies catch up to you. Even if you have like a troubled past that you're afraid to admitting, be honest about it. You don't have to tell them right away, but once you feel comfortable with them, don't hide it. Just tell them. If this person is the one for you, they're going to understand, and they're still going to accept you for who you are. If anything, if you're more honest to them about that, they're more than likely to be more accepting for you than if you lie to them and they catch you lying and they're just going to see you as a liar. Number 8 is using somebody as comfort. Okay, now I've seen this one so many times, and it's pretty much when either one person or both, they're using the other person to get over somebody else. Or they might be feeling lonely because they've been single for such a long time that they say, well, hey, you're single and lonely and I'm single and lonely. Why don't we just get together? After all, we both want the same thing. Because honestly, when they're in that situation, they want that comfort from another person. And because they can relate to somebody else that's feeling the same way, they feel that they can mend that. But it's because here's the thing, if that were to happen, you're not in the relationship for the right reasons. You really don't have true feelings for each other. You're just there because you have one thing in common and you're using each other, or one person might be using the other just for that, for, to have that, pretty much to have that support. I mean, look, I get it that, it's comforting to hear from somebody else that might be going through something similar. And it's fine to talk about it and, express each other and everything, but that just, that should only stay as just friends, Don't confuse it with true feelings, because eventually once you get out of that lonely, depressing phase, either one or the other, you're going to realize that they're not going to be happy in that relationship. Number 9 is using somebody to get over someone else. So in a way, it kind of relates to number 8. The only difference is that rather than being both people using each other to get over any sort of loneliness or sadness, in this case, it's only one person using another to get over, an ex or somebody that they have feelings for and they probably couldn't get. And this can be spotted in a relationship if your significant other constantly brings their ex about something, whether, you guys are talking about, restaurants or, favorite foods or favorite movies. They always have a reason to bring up their ex. It wouldn't be fair to you, because in the situation that ex that hurt them wants to get back together with them again, they're going to leave you in an instant. You're going to be left out in the cold. So yeah, if you're dating someone and it's only been a few months since their last relationship, just be really careful, honestly. Try noticing how they act around you or the things they say. And if they keep bringing up their exes or a specific ex or somebody that just hurt them in the past, I wouldn't take that lightly. I would just walk away myself. And lastly, it's number 10, which is abusive behavior. So whether it's verbal or physical, don't stand by it. The minute that they lay a hand on you is a clear as day sign that they don't love you. You have absolutely no reasons to stay after that. And if you're afraid that they might do something worse, don't. Just tell somebody, report it to the authorities right away. There's absolutely no reason for you to stay. Now, if we're talking about verbal abuse, whether they say things to put you down or they lower your self-esteem, honestly, that's when you have to drop them, because the point of relationships, look, the thing with relationships is that you're a team. You pick each other up whenever you're down. And if your significant other, all they ever do is just criticize you, insult you, make fun of you, mock you for your dreams, and they pretty much just step all over your self-confidence, then what are you doing? That's not a real relationship. They don't love you. Because look, if you're in a relationship and your significant other hurts you either physically or mentally, you're you're putting yourself at risk of ruining your life for good, especially if you keep staying and justifying them for the reasons that they talk to you or the reasons that they shove you. Because look, whether it's verbal abuse or physical abuse, if you keep letting it happen, it's going to lead to depression or even death. That's like the most obvious one, which, you know, I really cannot still understand why people stay in those types of relationships. And I know that they get attached and they fell in love with somebody else that, you know, wasn't showing their colors at the time. I get that, but it boggles my mind that they still stay after the very first time that they hurt them, especially if it was physical. All right, that's enough ranting. I think I got a little bit carried away right there because I don't know, I really cannot stand, you know, domestic abuse. And that's pretty much it, guys. Hope you take these red flags into account, whether you're already in a relationship or if you're even thinking about starting to, you know, be in a relationship with somebody. Remember, like I said in the beginning of the video, first and foremost, you have to love yourself and know yourself truly and know what you truly want and what you deserve. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. If you want to hear me talk about things like this, drop it down in the comments below and let me know what you want me to talk about. And I'll see you guys in the next one.